So you guys were I'm hearing a lot of you guys wanted the theme song shortened, so here we go. This girl reviews movies, games, and books. Sometimes she plays them. So does that, and when she does it with the cat, does that make her crazy? Does that make her crazy? Probably. So, it's shorter. There you go. CrazyCatLady or Martha Butler does not own any trailers or pictures. I use them under fair educational for and entertainment purpose. It's like it's all they did. Well, those years ago. See? No, I don't want to do any more of it.
Okay, hi everyone, Martha here. So before we begin talking about the book, I included in the title news because I had to talk about this, what this guy said, since I am just as mad as he is, and I'll probably will never stop being mad until they release this movie. Basically, any of the movies that got written off the tax write-off, because anytime something gets made, even if it's something not that interested in, because there's those two Scooby-Doo movies that never got to be made. I think if you make a movie, if you want to make a movie, even if it's something, if you buy a company, you should let everybody finish what they're doing and see if it makes a profit. Just don't say, okay, I don't like that kind of thing. I'm not into that kind of thing. But the rest of the world is, like, because remember, there's little kids that watch your stuff. There's families that watch your stuff. There's people like me who watch your stuff who want to have these characters be celebrated. I want Scooby-Doo to be celebrated. I want the Looney Tunes to be celebrated. And I want Batgirl to be celebrated. So, anytime any of those movies get talked about, and I do need to talk about the Earth Load Up delay too, because I did get delayed to March, so I need to mention that. So one of the actors of Coyote versus Acme, I think there's actually two of them that talked, but we're gonna talk about this one. One that is I think who plays Wiley's lawyer, wanted to talk about his feelings about the movie, because unlike me and the fans who want to watch it, you guys who's watching this, he got to see the movie, okay, because he was in it. So when they had that funeral for it, he got to see it. So let's see what he said about it. So let's see. Okay, let's read the article. Let me get so where you guys can see it. First, said, hopefully I can say his last name right. Okay. Coyote versus Acme, Shielding makes his blood boil because it's really good. Yay! Happy that one of the actors thought, not just the guy who plays Wiley, thought it should be released. It's his lawyer, his partner in crime in this movie. Wiley, Warner Brothers did not decide to release a year after filming. It's already been a year. I can't believe it. Finishing filming, hold back his thoughts on Wiley versus Acme. It's not seeing the light of day. The recent interview, Web Movies, first was asked his thoughts on the 2003 film. So really, it's 2 years ago. That Warner Brothers Shield a year filming wrapped up for tax write-off. The nerve of them. The animation film was starring John Cena and had James Gunn attached as producers. Why did James Gunn fight for this movie? And also worked on it. Screenplay, I thought, were fucking bullshit. I'm not gonna say, okay, I totally agree, okay? I think it's long enough a movie where can cost more applying before getting for more serious addis and seeing delightful movies. It deserves much better. You can't tell possibly why the disgrace of making not to release it, because my blood boils. And thank you for asking me about it, because I like talking about the movie. And it explains how he doesn't want people to forget what they did to this movie. I appreciate letting me making it, because don't let them this thing fall in love with, then not show it. I mean, I understand the thing sucked if the thing sucked, but it's really good. The Hollywood Reporter failed to break the news in November 2003 that the first features with relaunch of Warner Brothers Pictures Animation in June. The studios worried to film on releasing a Warner Brothers Mobius Pictures most shared. The film's zouted to cost $72 million production after seeing Coyote vs. Acme shares a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter, which reads its part looks like it comes to Hollywood business stuff. It does not know shit about shit. I like that. Even when a movie tests is very well, like ours, expression to be hit. The end of the days, people who have paid this movie obviously do whatever they want with it. It doesn't mean I have to like it. I fucking hate it. Or I agree with it. It doesn't mean that this movie anything less than madness. So let's see, is that it? That's it. Wow. So, yes. So, I got it. Thank you. I love to see that one of the actors, let me see what the other actor said, but it's nice to see that actor, agreed on it. So, it's not really news because the movie's not being released still, but I don't think these people who made this movie are ever going to work with this, guy again, or work with Warner Brothers again. I totally don't blame them. Is it just him? I'm pretty sure the girl, one of because there's like three actors that were not cartoon characters, apparently. Just since this is Laura Corning, who was going to be one of the. Okay, so let's see what she said about it. So I'm going to do two different reports that talks about it. So let me get back the screen thing up here so you'll read that part too. Then we'll get to the book. Way I got to talk about the delay too. Okay, this is comic book readers website. I'm genuinely heartbroken. Coyote vs. Acme star reflects on funeral screening for cancellation film. This looks like it's very unlikely shielding the Looney Tunes. Coyote vs. Acme will ever see light of day, and the filming getting to Warner Brothers reporting for $30 million tax write-off and left to one least of feeling completely deserved. So I think it would have made more money at that. Okay, it's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong for the tax write-off that they got, because I know Warner Brothers is not doing so well. So that's the reason why they did all these tax write-offs, because it wasn't Warner Brothers was in debt. So yeah, that's why they canceled a lot of these movies. I mean, I really hate that they canceled any of them, but they had to. I really wish they didn't, though. I mean, they didn't even give this movie really a chance. Laura Corning, two stars of Coyote vs. Acme alongside the one we just talked about, Will, and John Cena. And in a new interview of Screen Rant, Corning Films 2 had zero update of the process of Coyote vs. Acme getting saved. Admission to seeing a heartbroken, and it's looking like film gross wouldn't get a chance to see it. She also delighted that the funeral screening that held the cast and crew of seeing how watching only made it cancellation much worse. She put the best work on her career. Yeah, because that's looks like she's proud of what she did with the film, even though because when the people who were like not voice actors in it, they just got to see a bunch of people like walk around with sticks or green screen when they were talking to the cartoon characters, so they don't know what it looked like until they got to the funeral screening. So yeah, Probably, definitely most deserved thing to my career. It's far less important to enough. I love that the film also so much. I honored for working on an incredible artist for it and build every amazing world I got to produce and to puppet CGI. These things were also so nostalgic. I love stories through and through, and I had to burst making it. I am a generosity heartbroken that the world would no longer see it for a tax write-off. The nerve. I think that it's so sad that I got the news to be invited to the funeral screening. And the saddest thing ever, she added, the film was Bruce Will of John Cena, and the kind of only people who thinks that else all the green screening and everything. I didn't know what it was going to look like and what went on the funeral screening. I thought everything, maybe the film isn't good, but I was wrong. Watching the film, I personally get rid of this dumb thing. I think that is the best. I think it was my best work I ever done. I think it was funny. It was kind of put it in a real position matter, and really truly deserves for me, and all losing everything. David Green directed Coyote versus Acme, that poor guy, and I wasn't, and which was written by Sam Burst, also poor guy, and the story by Burst, James Gunn, and Jeremy Slaughters. I feel so sorry for these guys. Eric, voice of Wiley, also a guy I feel sorry for right now. In the film, imagination of Looney Tunes characters, live action. Imagine Wiley hiring Eternity Will and the lawsuits against Acme Corporation after every single time he almost got killed. Painful black slash and during his painful suit for the Roadrunner. Anybody who's allowed to sue anybody, it should be freaking Wiley. He should even sue Warner Brothers for not making them, for not letting the movie get released. Well, not Warner Brothers. It's not Warner Brothers' fault. It's stupid Zaslav's fault. And Wile E. Coyote lost release date to Barbie. Okay, I liked Barbie. Barbie was a good movie, but they could not find a way to get both of them released. Obviously, was dated to release to July 21st, 2023. The late pushed from the schedule for replace with Barbie, and to resolve from famous Barbenheimer. It could have been called Cardi or Armor, or to November 2003, in a film and canceled, even though it was finished production testing process of screening. It was at least reported at the end of scene save another studio streaming and put into a bribe into these pissed Warner Brothers Discovery wanting more money than anyone else willing to fork it over. See, sell it to Amazon, sell it to Netflix, any of them. Then you could let them release it and let somebody else get money. But no, you had to keep all the money for yourself. You that greedy. I'm so sorry. I'm just so mad about this. David Zaslav. Okay. Okay, that's it. Let me get the next one part up. Okay. So now we're talking about Coyote versus Acme. So let's get the day the Earth blew up. Okay, so let me just get this back up there so you guys can see it. I'm just gonna read this little bit to you guys. So the filming of the screening of the animated film Sevastopol, Los Angeles on October 19th, 2024, 2 days prior to the screening. Catch-up schedule. Film released in the United States on February 28th, 2025. On February 25th, 2025. Release date was pushed to March 14, 2025. So yeah, so I get to see a movie during March since it got late then. So there's the news about there's the Looney Tunes news. I know it's mostly talking about Percy Jackson, so let me see. I'm right back. But I just want to talk about those two first. Hold on. Okay. So I just had to get that out of my system, since those two news kind of got me a little bit mad. Anytime they bring up those movies, I get mad just because I never got to see them. So let's get started with the book. And this book was pretty good. Mostly, there's only like 2 stories. The rest of it is just fillers. Let's see. Okay, so we got. Okay, really, there's actually let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, 3 stories in here, and the rest of it's just interviews with the characters, read by the authors asking it. So what's good? I'm just going to talk about the 3 stories that they do in here. 3 short stories. One is kind of important because they do reference it in one of the bigger series, and when this happened, when this character did show up in I think it was in the 2nd series where Bob showed up again. That was like, where the hell did he come from? Oh, he came from a short story I never read, so that makes sense. This is where Bob came Bob. I know he's technically a Titan. That's Atlas's dad, but Percy made him a good guy and made it where he's not useful to Kronos, which is good. So let's get started about the first one, and that's Percy Jackson, the Stolen Chariot. So basically, Ares' daughter, the one that's always a bully to Percy, gotta remember her name, Clarissa, hopefully I'm saying it right, was supposed to learn. Technically it's kind of like a car ride, a first card testing. Looks like Ares went to test his daughter, making her drive his chariot and having her fight her 2 older brothers, which are the ones that Pain and Panic are based off in Hercules, and that is I can never remember how to pronounce anything. Looks like Ebos and Deimos, which are technically gods of I think one's god of fear and one's god of pain. That's why Pain and Panic. And also technically these guys are the 2 moons of Mars names. And so I just want to talk about this. Want to remind you who these 2 characters are before we start talking about them. So they want to show, basically I think it's mostly a test for Clarice to have, and she interrupts Percy while he's doing a test, like his finals for 5th grade or something like that, and he hears a fighting going outside, so he has to go and do that and stop that from happening and help her. Even though these 2 don't get along, he still doesn't want nothing bad happening to her and on his watch. So yeah, so even though these 2 don't get along, he helps her, defeats these 2, because she does really need her help because she's really outnumbered. It's a bit unfair of Ares. Ares is the god of war, so of course he's gonna fight. He's gonna test somebody unfairly. So yeah, and I think they should only had her like fight one of them, not both of them at the same exact time. You're being really unfair to her. So I really kind of feel sorry for her during this moment, even though she's not exactly a character I like. I'm allowed to feel sorry for somebody I'm not really a fan of. But here, I did feel sorry for her, because her dad was being a jerk. It makes sense, it's Ares. But yeah, but he helps her defeat these 2 I think he fights Deimos while she fights Phobos. Phobos like makes you see your fear, and Deimos mostly like makes you like turns into Ares. So yeah, well, I know that's what's basically what happens. Then they without saying thank you, she kind of does say thank you in her own particular way. So that's how that one goes. And the next one is called The Bronze Dragon. So this basically takes place during when they're playing Capture the Flag at once, and both it's him and Chuck, Percy and Chuck working together, while Chuck's girlfriend, who's an Aphrodite's daughter, both these characters die, so it's hard for me to remember their names because they're not in the stories no longer since they're both dead. So let me find out. She's a Hephaestus' daughter and Aphrodite's daughter, so it's nice to see their kids getting together, even if they never really had kids together, those two, even though they were forced to date. I mean, Hephaestus wanted to date Aphrodite, but Aphrodite didn't want to date him, so yeah. So Selena Beauregard and Miosgat and Beckendorf are the ones that are in the story, besides Annabeth and Percy. So since it was mostly a trick between these two, between Annabeth and Selene for Beckendorf and Percy, so they can win. So Annabeth can win, capture the flag. They find a bronze dragon being hauled off by pretty much giant ants, and Beckendorf gets knocked out and gets taken away by the ants. So those three have to save him, and so they decided to use the bronze dragon, which is something that Beckendorf's dad Hephaestus made. And so Annabeth has to fix it because it broke. It was one of the guardians of the camp, basically, like a long time ago. Like I think the short story said like 15 years ago, basically. And so they had to fix it. And the dragon's really actually a dragon, even though it's not, even though it's just a robot dragon, old-fashioned robot. And Percy has to get it riled up to go after and save it by insulting it, and then asking it to go and save Hephaestus' kid, because that's literally its job. Why would it not want to protect the creator's kid? So yeah. And so they use basically the dragon as a distraction against the ants, because if you go inside the anthill, you really want to avoid the ants. You want to save the prey from them. And looks like Beckendorf got paralyzed from the ants biting him, probably, and then saved him that way and got him out, like carried him out there, basically. And then the other team members, like Annabeth's siblings and the Aphrodite's kids, the other ones that are there that did not get named, really, come and capture Percy, and both Percy and Beckendorf take them to the fireworks afterwards that night. So yeah, that one's okay. Now for the last story, which is called The Sword of Hades. Out of the three, I think this is my favorite because of what happens in it. It kind of, even though it's a short story, kind of continues the series at hand, and it gets referenced later, so that's good. So you kind of have to read this before you find out about who Bob is, which I should have. I should have read this before the House of Hades, but I didn't, because I didn't know this. I wanted to read the regular series, but yeah, what are you gonna do? And basically, they have to. Persephone asks Percy, Thalia, and Nico, the three big kids, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades kids, to go and find the Sword of Hades, that which she made, which is the twist. Hades did not even know she made the sword for him, because she was really just trying to protect her and Hades from the fight from Kronos, so they would not get involved, because they should not have to get involved. It's mostly revenge on Zeus, but Hades should also be involved in the fight, because remember at first of last Olympus, Hades did not want to get involved, but literally Nico forced him into it. And if they like go and get the sword for him, then he literally has to have it, because really Hades doesn't have a sword. He has a spear or like a staff, a big stick. That's what he has. He has like a staff or something like that. That's what he had. He doesn't have a sword. They point that out in this story. But the weird thing is, the one who steals it is something that Rick did not even remind us who it is, because it's another kid who's sadly no longer in the story, and that is Nemesis's kid, the guy with the eye patch. Let me see. I can't remember. There's so many characters in these stories, and then when they die, I kind of wish they would not mention them. But Melnone is also one that they mention in these books, and that happens to be Hades' kids, one of Hades' kids, but they don't have her be one of Hades' kids in this short story. So it's weird. So let me look for the story so I can look up how to say this character's name. Anyway, looks like Percy gets hurt from one of the fights, one of the creatures in the underworld. It had to be in the underworld, and they see Sisyphus, the guy who cheated death. They fight some like weird bird creature that hurts Percy. Poor Athalia has the bullet of a rock, while they literally talk to him, asking who stole the sword, and Sisyphus does not want to help, because Sisyphus he wants to get out of his punishment. Of course he does, because he thinks he can escape from after he pulls up the rock. He does not know the rock. The entire thing, the whole point of his punishment, he never will be finished doing his punishment. That's not her point of it. And pushing the rock up. And let's see where I'm trying to look for the Melnone is the god of ghosts. So, and like I said, that is literally one of Hades' kids in mythology sometimes. Like literally in that video game Hades, that's his kid. So I guess they're keeping with the fact that's one of Zeus's kids, actually, but since those two got mixed up a lot. Yeah, so I guess they're not keeping with the fact that's supposed to be one of Hades' kids. I liked it better when it's one of Hades' kids, because Zeus has too many kids, actually, if you ask me. But she helps steal the sword, so she can, because it looks like Kronos made a deal with her, saying that she can have her spirits like rule the world, basically. And because both Nico and Thalia were haunted by their parents' death, she uses it against them, while Percy, who still has both his parents alive, is not haunted by it. Like, he thinks that all the people who died around him have been laid to rest, unlike Nico and Thalia. So yeah, so how you say, Ethan, that's how you say his name. Okay, Ethan, and he's the one who went to go and get Bob. I'm not calling his by his Titan names. Bob's a lot easier to say. And so Percy and him fight, even though Percy has a literal her arm, and he just lifted the Sea of Forgetfulness, which gets brought up back here, because he was trying to make sure that Thalia and Nico don't get hit by it any trips, so they don't forget who they are. And he only listed with one hand, because his arm is hurt, and it ends up like falling on top of him. The water does, but he has to keep himself dry so he doesn't forget who he is. Because literally that happens in the future. He does forget who he is in the future, since it takes place before the second series. And so after they get cross, Ethan shows up with Bob and Melnone, and the Titan attacks Percy, and they both fall into the Sea of Forgetfulness. and Percy doesn't care who he was, but Bob does, because hence his new name, and gets out of there and turns this Titan into a good guy, and returns the sword to Persephone, even though they're out of time, and to Hades. And Hades had no idea this is going on, so he got mad at Persephone for doing this and wanted to punish her, but he literally can't do that. He just doesn't like the fact that she went behind his back, basically. And Percy says you're not allowed to use this against the gods, so he agrees to that. And both Talia and Percy leaves, but Nico stays there, even though he doesn't like Persephone, because he turned him into a lily. So yeah, this one was technically my favorite since it gets referenced later on, basically. So I've been talking for a while. So what do I think about these three stories? I think I'm probably gonna get the third one, probably like a 9 out of 10. I'll probably get the second one a 7 out of 10. I'll probably give the first one a 6. So there you guys go. Hope you guys enjoy this. Alright, so I forgot to do a couple things first. We're going to show you the pictures in this book first, even though I don't like the art, but I'm going to show it for you guys who do like the art. This art is technically, I'll answer, we got Zeus here, and then we got Ares, Percy. Mostly the reason I don't like it because the eyes look weird in this art. Everything else is fine, but I just think most of the eyes would makes it ugly, and sometimes the characters look weird. Like look at Annabeth. Look at Grover. Grover looks weird. His face is just too big. There's like no way of telling he's a satyr in this, because he's wearing a hat. He could at least have his horns sticking out of his hat. Annabeth's fine, but it's mostly Grover that looks terrible. I think Chiron's fine though. So it's mostly like Percy and Chiron that look terrible. And I forgot to tell you what I'm reading next. So the pictures we got here, like the one I'm gonna read, I already started listening to for this, is Elder's Quest. There's also the second Wicked book, The Son of the Witch, Daughters of the Deep, Camp Jupiter Classified, Bronze House Magician, Modern NM, the Kingdom Hearts manga, and there's also Return to the Pit, the next Five Nights at Freddy's book. So there you guys go. So those are the books I'm gonna read after this. And let's read the last page of this story to you guys, and not the prologue, not what happens, the preview for the next book, because that's what they're really doing, is the preview for the next book is the last page, so I'm not going to count that as last page. Then it's gotten stolen, Thalia said. You shut it down, the underworld, not Hades. You couldn't tell him what had happened. You need us to get the sword back before Hades found out. You used us. Persephone mauled her lips. It's an important thing that Hades has accepted the sword. You will have it finished. My husband will become as powerful as Zeus or Poseidon. Our realm would be protected against Kronos and any other who tried to threaten us. And for response, I said miserably, you've been very helpful, Persephone agreed. Perhaps a reward you have your science. Get lost, I said, before I get down to and throw you in. Bob can help me, won't you, Bob? Bob will help you. Can't us, agreed cheerfully. Persephone eyed wildly, and she disappeared in show of dandelions. Nico, Thalia said our goodbyes. The balance overseen outless. Bob the Titan sat inside, building toy house out of bones and laughing every time it collapsed. I'll watch him, Nico said. He's harmless now. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll retrain him into something good. Are you sure you want to stay here? I asked. Persephone will make your life miserable. I have to, he insists. I have to get close to my dad. He's a better advisor. I couldn't argue about that. Well, if you need anything, I'll call, he promised. And he shook his hands with Thalia and me. He turned to leave, then he looked back at me. And one more time. Percy, you haven't forgotten my offer. A slice down the spine. I'm still thinking about it. Nico nodded. Well, whenever you're ready. After he was gone, Thalia said, what offer? Something about... He told me something about last summer, I said. About a possible way to fight Kronos. It's dangerous, but I have enough dangers for one day. Thalia nodded. In that case, up for dinner. I couldn't help but smile. After all that, you're hungry? She said. Hey, she said, even immortals have to eat. I'm thinking hamburgers at half words. And together, we crushed the roses that were returned to the world to turn us to the world. So, that's it. So back to past me. I've been talking for a while. I'm gonna go and get myself a drink, water or something. So I'll see you guys later. Like, share, and subscribe, and bye-bye. Now, time to edit this.